new computer. I have it coming on too soon. I think there is zero chance that there'll be a Ron Paul Romney endorsement. Absolutely zero. I think we owe the man that much confidence after all that he's done for us. We owe him that. And I think that's, I mean, if there is a Ron Paul endorsement of Romney, I will come back on here and eat some inedible object. That's how certain I am that it is not going to happen. So I don't think there really is the need for it. So anyway, I know that's not a complete explanation, but that's the best I can do for you now, and I hope that satisfies you, but there ain't nothing you got to worry about. Okay. Oh my gosh, no, this is too fast. I wish Ian could come back on and just read me some questions. Okay. And then people are asking me about endorsements. I hardly ever make endorsements because I have to know the person really, really well, and I hardly ever know any of these people really, really well. Okay. What do I know about Trygve Olsen? Oh, Ian is actually going to come on and help me. Hey, you guys are great. But now, no abusing your position and pretending that questions you have are really from the chat window. I don't know anything about Trygve Olsen except what's in the Justin Raimondo article. So I don't know anything about him. I read the Justin Raimondo article and I thought, well, this is pretty weird, and it's not somebody I would have brought on. But I don't know anything about him. I never even heard of the guy before, so I have no idea who that guy is. I do want to answer. I did see briefly the Gary Johnson question. What do I think about him? Well, I mean, I do like him. I do like him in some ways. He emphasizes some issues that I wouldn't emphasize, but the fact that he came to one of our nullification conferences and got up and gave a speech and used the word nullify is more than you can say for 99.9% of politicians. And so you got to give him some credit for that. I mean, what other than headaches did he get for himself by doing that? So I am grateful to him for that. He's always been generous with me, and almost all the bad libertarians are always enemies of mine, and not from my initiative, by the way. I don't go out trying to make enemies. I just discover that people are already my enemies. I don't understand that. But when he did do that interview with Bob Wenzel at economicpolicyjournal.com, that was a little disappointing, because there it looked like I understand he's a successful entrepreneur. No one can take that away from him. As a governor, he vetoed 750 bills. Nobody can take that away from him. But he's not as conversant with libertarian ideas and Austrian economics and some of the key thinkers as I would like him to be. Okay, Ian, are you there? All right, all I see is...
I'm here.
All right. So Ian, you start reading me questions because it's giving me headaches. So you read me some questions.
All right, you're going to regret this because now.
Oh, wait, hold on. Somebody wants a Woods podcast to listen to at work. That's coming in August. It's not coming any sooner because all next month I'm going to be at the Mises Institute, and so I'm just going to be a little bit out of sorts. So I can't really do it then. But we're going to start in August, and in August I'm going to be on the other side of a really scary fence because August 1st I turn 40. I'm 40. What is the deal here? Oh my gosh, you people are like half my age now. Okay, all right, Ian, go ahead.
All right, I wrote this one down. How can we change C for L, Campaign for Liberty leadership?
How can we change Campaign for Liberty leadership? Well, we can't, is the answer. We can't do that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to do that. Other than, I'm just going to make clear my own feelings about the situation, but that is not for us to do. I mean, early on, I was asked if I would have some role in Campaign for Liberty and heading the thing. But I was a young head of household, and I had a few kids to take care of, and it was something like that is very speculative, and it might not work out. And I felt like at that time I had a secure position at the Mises Institute, and I just couldn't take that kind of risk with young mouths to feed. But I don't know. I mean, I think without some type of change, I think they're going to have a little bit tougher time raising money than they anticipate. I think they need some new blood, even just for utilitarian reasons like that. But as to how to make that happen, I welcome your suggestions. Okay, thoughts on Rand's endorsement. I'm I made a video. I interviewed him on Peter Schiff's show. You can go to my YouTube channel. I'm sorry, Ian, I called you on, and then now I'm doing the questions myself. But don't go anywhere in case it gets bad again. I'm typing in my YouTube channel here, youtube.com/TomWoodsTV. So please subscribe to that, by the way, because I do make some videos. But on there, you'll find my interview with Rand. And then after the interview with Rand, I talk about, this was 2 weeks ago, and then I talk about endorsing Romney. But I haven't said anything since then because I don't think there's anything for me to add that I didn't already say in that video. Okay, how many members of Ron Paul's family are paid by C4L campaign or congressional office? You got me. I don't know. You have to have something. You have to ask somebody who's more hands-on. I mean, I live in Topeka, Kansas. I don't know who's working where. Okay. Did Rothbard support George Bush like Jack Hunter said? Well, I think that was a more playful article than Jack is letting on. I think Murray was just having some fun, and Murray felt very strongly about Middle East policy, so I think he liked to stick in the eye of the Israel lobby by supporting Bush. That Bush the elder was James Baker was not viewed as a friend of the lobby, and so Murray liked to just stick his turn the screw a little bit, but. So I don't think it's really fair to dredge that up, really. All right, let's see. How much weight have I lost? I'm just picking out ones because I'm not looking at the screen right now, or I wouldn't be able to talk. So I'm just picking out ones that I just see. I've been cheating a lot lately because we moved to a new house, which means we don't have time for all the food preparation that the Primal Blueprint calls for. But from the height of my weight, which I think I don't want to say my actual weight, but I think I've probably lost about 28 pounds since the worst of it. Like, I look back on my media things from 2007, and I say, my gosh, I was gigantic then. Let me say, I'm not saying my weight. I'm going to type in, if you want to know more about how I did it, you can go to that page. Okay. Let's see. All right, All right. Is Gene Callahan right when he says Luther is closer to praxeology than Salamanca? That's a pretty obscure question, but I don't know. I think I don't want to say unkind things about individuals on this thing. So I'm not so sure how Gene Callahan's the best source on something like that. I mean, Luther was certainly not a free market guy, but in terms of methodology, well, I mean, in my book, The Church and the Market, I quote the study by Gabriel Zanotti from the Journal of Markets and Morality, where he goes through and derives all the praxeological statements. I mean, that man acts and that it always involves that human action always involves choosing and setting aside, and human beings always pursue what they perceive to be good, and all these things comes right out of Aquinas. So I don't need to look at Martin Luther, who had about as much curiosity about the economy as I have about how this staple remover was made. All right, let's see. I'm gonna try and. What book should indoctrinated high school students read to relearn American history? Okay. Unfortunately, there are no survey texts of American history that are entirely reliable. Like, you can find a book that's good on this war, a book that's good on this period, but there isn't any one book that's any good. The series that's sometimes recommended is the 5-volume, I think it may, 5-volume series by Clarence Carson called A Basic History of the United States, because it does have the basic overview. I think this book is atrociously written. It is just a horrendously written book, but it gives you some basics. Paul Johnson has a book called A History of the American People, but that's uneven and not reliable on all things. So in some ways, you got to just pick a book on this, a book on that. So my book, The Politically Incorrect Guide to American History, has a lot of recommended readings on various topics, and that gives you for a high school student, I've had a lot of high school students who say, this book rescued me from the propaganda. So you might start there, maybe. And then, of course, you're all going to join libertyclassroom.com, because that's where just while driving your car, you can be deprogrammed. Okay, I already talked about Trygve Olsen. I don't know anything about him. Thoughts on Benton? Did he throw it intentionally? I don't know him well enough to know that, but I'll just say, because I've already spoken about him, he is not a person who inspires confidence. Is Rand's endorsement a backdoor endorsement from Ron? Absolutely 100% no is the answer to that question. I don't know enough about the shale oil boom to comment. I'm sorry to say. Bob Murphy is really the expert on that. Let's see. What is my advice for someone running for office? I don't know what advice I would give to somebody running for office other than I would say make sure you choose your race carefully. Like, you know, I don't think there's, I would only run if it were an open seat. Like there's some remote chance of winning. Now, Ron Paul can make politics into a vehicle for education. But if you're running for U.S. Congress, you'd probably get almost no media at all. You really won't be able to do it for education. The only reason to do that is to win. So I would choose the race carefully. And then also I would say choose these more local races. Because you know you can change things for the better in your local neighborhood if you're if at the local level there are some things you can change, or as a citizen, as Gary North says, just block all bond issues. If you blocked all bond issues, that would actually amount to a measurable improvement in people's lives. Okay, I'm seeing the word lawsuit, but I don't know what that means. Okay, what lawsuit? I'm sorry. Oh, the lawsuit about delegates being bound? Is that what you mean? Okay, all right, sorry, wow, well, okay, so there's a really important question, everybody. Just repeat it 1,000 times, and my slow brain will see it. I haven't looked into the details of the delegate issue, not because it's not important, but because I can't know everything, and also because I sort of feel like I don't think Ron Paul wants to accept the nomination under those conditions. I don't think he wants to accept the nomination under circumstances in which the entire party apparatus would simply hate him, would declare war on him. And also, I think it's, if we've seen what they've done to his people at the state level, it almost doesn't matter what the courts say. The National Party is going to do what it wants to do. They'll figure out some way to trip him up. I mean, as I say, I don't think he wants to accept the nomination under very bizarre circumstances. So I'm not, anyway, that's how I feel about it. Okay, all right, now it's getting too fast, Ian, so I'm going to ask you to just dip in there and pull one out at random.
Okay, this one goes a little while back. I don't know if you got it. What needs to be done with the liberty movement moving forward?
What needs to be done? Well, I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be nice if we could all agree on some central clearinghouse, that we all visit, and where we can all interact, or that I know that if I go to such and such place, I'm going to get all the new videos that are of significance to me. I'm going to find out the new articles. I mean, to some extent, the Daily Paul plays that role now. And there is an interactive aspect to the Daily Paul. I mean, maybe there's more to be done with that, but to me, I just want to be able to keep in touch with you guys. Because, I mean, now with Ron Paul, well, if I post a video and it has Ron Paul in the title, well, I know I'll get a good series of comments going, and we can talk to each other. But when that's all over, how am I going to still be able to see all you guys? So, I don't know. I mean, to me, it would be nice. I wanted Campaign for Liberty to be that thing. Because, initially their website, the idea of it was people would have, they could start their own blogs. I mean, the ambition was there, but I think the execution sort of fell short. Okay, check my private messages on Tiny Chat. You may as well be asking me to build a nuclear missile. I'm sorry, I don't know how this works yet. Sorry. Okay, let's see. When will I go on the Alex Jones show? I've been on the Alex Jones show a few years ago, and then he never had me back. So ask him that question. Don't ask me. All right, and my view is I'll go on in pretty much any show. Pretty much any show. I mean, if somebody wants me to have access to that person's audience, then I'm okay with it. I mean, I've been on Michael Medved's show, I've been on Michael Reagan's show, I've been on Dennis Miller's show, I've been on Dennis Prager. I mean, these are not people I would really always want to have to my house, right?
Tom, I got one.
All right, well, go ahead, Ian.
All right. And the only reason why I noticed this one is because a lot of people request it. They want to see you and Stefan Mal in a debate. I know you guys don't disagree on a lot, but you do differentiate a little bit. And I think a lot of people would want to see that because you're more willing to work within the system, and Stefan doesn't believe in the political solution.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Let me talk about that because, see, I don't really believe in a political solution either. I was just willing to suspend that because I do believe in Ron. But my whole thing about why it's morally acceptable to vote, and I still do believe it is morally acceptable to vote, but I think that becomes almost entirely theoretical now. So anyway, so he and I were on this show a few weeks ago called the Valerie Sargent Martin Show. I think you can Google it or find it on YouTube. They made a YouTube out of it. And he was actually much closer to my position than I thought. He was very generous. He wasn't saying that I was some kind of heretic for holding this position. He said, look, I used to be involved in this stuff, so I'm not going to cast stones at people. It's just not something I'm interested in doing. So we're actually not as far apart, especially because my belief is that the reason that you would want to be involved in politics is basically this, not so much because you're going to change the world. I mean, it's not impossible that you could help, but the main reason is that most people get their political views from the newspaper. And what is the newspaper? Politics. And if we're not in politics, then we don't get talked about. Now, it's true, we've got YouTube, we've got all these other things, and that's all well and good. But a lot of people are going to, most people don't think about this stuff. That you guys and I, we think all day long, gee, how could we do roads without the government? Most people don't think that way, okay? Like, we think that a lot of people are starting to think that way because we talk to each other all day long. But most people don't think that way. Most people don't think about politics at all until it comes up. So if we don't have a voice, they're not even going to know that our perspective exists. That's why I want to be in that conversation. And so I think from that point of view, Steph can at least sort of respect that the reasons that I'm giving. But also now to the people out there who are agorists, I'm sympathetic to your point of view, and I wrote a very nice and sympathetic thing about agorism in my most recent book, Rollback, in the last year. By the way, Rollback, because they packaged it so badly, it's by far my best book ever, but Amazon just can't sell it because the description is boring, the cover's boring, the title's boring. So now you can get it for like dirt cheap. You can get it for like less than a pack of gum or something. Go over Amazon, order a copy of Rollback. And in there, I do talk about agorism, but I would caution people who say that the only way to bring about social change is through a mass withdrawal of consent, because I don't think history bears that out. Because, I mean, for example, slavery did not end because there was a mass withdrawal of consent. It's because the government abolished it. The Second Bank of the United States did not end because a whole bunch of people simply said, we're not going to have anything to do with this bank. It's because Andrew Jackson refused to renew the charter. The Corn Laws in England, which were a terribly regressive tax that made food more expensive, were not repealed because of some act of mass civil disobedience. They were repealed because Parliament repealed them, because Richard Cobden and John Bright led the fight against them. So I wouldn't say that politics can never lead to any good outcomes. I would say that in modern conditions, it seems exceedingly unlikely that it will. But it's not, I don't think you can make a blanket statement to that effect. All right, what else? Oh my God, Penny Freeman. I'll just simply say I did watch the interview, and I know Penny, and I have not known her to be a liar. I have not known her to be unreliable or a sensationalist. Okay. Are corporate taxes paid by the consumer? Mark Thornton says yes. Rothbard says no. I'm surprised Mark Thornton says yes. All right, very quickly. Let's see. Are corporate... See, I was thinking in terms of sales taxes. Because the argument is that people sometimes, free market people will sometimes make, is that if you impose a tax on a business, then the business will just pass that tax on to the consumer in the form of higher prices. But I think the Austrian response to that is that businesses are already charging the price the market can bear. If they could just willy-nilly increase their prices, they would have already done that. They're already at the profit maximizing point. So they can't just arbitrarily say, well, we have been hit with a tax, so we'll just pass it on to the consumer by raising our prices. If they could get away with raising their prices, they would already have done it. So the real way that the tax gets passed on to consumers is not in that direct and crude way. It's that some firms won't be able to survive under these conditions with the new tax. The marginal firms will go out of business, and that will mean there will be fewer firms producing the product, there will be a lower quantity of the product, and that lower quantity will mean a higher price for the product. That's the indirect way in which it's passed on to the consumer. Okay, future Liberty Classroom classes. Okay, so my site is libertyclassroom.com. We've got U.S. history to 1877, taught by me, taught by Brian McClanahan, who wrote the Founding Fathers Guide to the Constitution, and Kevin Gutzman. We got U.S. history since 1877, mostly taught by me. Western civilization, from antiquity to the present. We've got Austrian economics, taught by a Ron Paul endorsed professor. I think we're going to do a course on the Constitution. I'm going to do a course on Marxism, because you got to know the answers to all those fallacies. I might do one on logic if people want it, how to detect bad arguments, have a philosophy guy do that. I'd like to see one on like an introduction to liberty, general introduction. All the sorts of topics that you need to know to be a defender of liberty, all those sorts of things. Okay, what do I know about Iceland's peaceful revolution? I don't know anything. I do know something about Iceland's economy, however. Do I think Ron Paul will openly declare his ANCAP beliefs after he retires? Well, I don't know for sure that he is an ANCAP, so I can't say that for sure. Let's see. Yeah, okay, yeah, no, that thing, no, I don't think Penny was really implying that, or, I don't know, in a moment of angst, she might have suggested that, but I don't believe that Ron Paul, well, Ron Paul's already quite comfortable financially, so any suggestion that, if he wanted to make money, he wouldn't do it by going around at age 76, or what is he, 77 or something like that, flying around, to 8 speeches a day for no fee. There are other ways he could do this. Would I vote Romney/Rand Paul or Libertarian Johnson? I wouldn't vote Romney/Rand Paul. I could have mentioned a scenario in which I voted for Gary Johnson. Okay, yeah, you definitely check out Hans Hoppe. Is a stateless society the future of social evolution? Maybe, maybe not. This might be a hopeless thing, but maybe not. It's hard to know. It's like trying to imagine a world without slavery in ancient Athens. I mean, you think that's impossible, and yet here we are. We basically live without at least overt forms of slavery. Okay, I don't know enough about the stock market really to speculate, well, so to speak, right? One sentence to keep in mind while reading Rollback. Everything the government told you is a lie, and here's why, basically. Why did Jeff Becker leave the Mises Institute? I think he's really gotten a lot more interested in publishing, per se. And the Mises Institute does a lot of publishing, but it doesn't just do publishing. And Jeff is really interested in trying out a lot of new approaches to publishing, and he really wants to do publishing full-time. So I think that's why he did. There's no hard feelings or anything. He loves the Mises Institute. He loves Jeff, so it's no problems. Oh my gosh, okay, we're really, I don't think Ron Paul returned to politics in his 80s. I think this is going to be it. Do anarchists defining as libertarians hurt the movement? No, I mean, we're too small at this point for it to matter, and, I think most people are mature enough to say, well, look, I love libertarianism. These people go too far if they don't agree with that. And that was what I did when when I first started looking at libertarianism. I thought, well, I love Murray Rothbard, but I can only go with him like 90% of the way. I think most people can say that. I love seasteading if it could work. I met Patry Friedman in Brazil once. Can we win? Of course we can win. If we can conceive of victory, then victory is possible. All right. What problems does De Beers diamond monopoly present for the Austrian school? Not really a huge problem. And I know I need to get off here because we got somebody else. We got Ron Paul girl coming up. But the quick answer is this. Hold on. Screensaver came back on. The South African government basically nationalizes all the diamonds. So even if a diamond mine is on your private property, it's automatically nationalized, and then it is farmed out to the De Beers monopoly, De Beers cartel, or to firms that are sort of in league with the cartel. So it actually turns out that is not nearly the problem for the market that you would think. And so if you want to read more about that, I would go to Google and type in Rothbard De Beers, and an article on that will come up. Okay, all right, everybody. Economic collapse before Tampa? No. I think economic big problems, I suspect, in 2013 in Europe and here, but I think they'll keep it going till after the election. Stopping for shipping at any time soon. I may be doing it in the middle of next week. It depends on his availability. He's going to be in California. Okay, all right, I'm afraid that's it, everybody. I'm sorry I can only do a fraction of the questions. You guys just got to come over to my house. If any of you people live in the Topeka area, I'm not kidding, by the way. If you live in the Topeka area, send me an email and let's all get together, and then you can ask me anything you want. Okay, all right, well then write to me. Write to me. Send me an email at woods@mises.com. All right.
Tom.
Yeah.
Can you do 5 more minutes? Libertarian hand's running late.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, hold on. Let me see where the family is here. Okay, good. They're all chit-chatting. They're not sitting around saying, where is that? Where is Daddy? They are sitting out on our beautiful new deck. We have a new house. You notice there's no furniture behind me. Our living room is. I don't mean to. We're not super rich or anything, but we do have a decorator because I'm totally clueless about like what goes with what. So we don't have any furniture, so we sit out on our deck. We have furniture downstairs, but who likes to be downstairs, right? This beautiful deck that overlooks all of Topeka, and Topeka's the lamest city on earth, but at night when everything's all lit up, it kind of looks like a real city, so it's kind of cool. We're up on a hill, we can see everything. Okay. All right, somebody's saying they want to have me on something. Send me an email, and we'll try and do that. Who's the most underrated dead libertarian? Well, in some ways, Murray Rothbard, because here he is, the founder of the whole movement. His scholarly achievements are unbelievable, and yet most of respectable libertarianism can't even bring itself to mention his name, except for purposes of disparagement. That's incredible. So in my most recent video, in fact, I hope you won't mind, can I just share with you guys? Let me get this link. I hope you have time to watch this, maybe like over lunch or like when you have a little time. I'm going to get this link and give it to you. This is a speech I gave on Saturday. Gary Johnson spoke the next day after I did, right here. If you could watch that video, I would sure. Yeah, we might do History of Economic Thought. I wouldn't rule that out. But anyway, check out this video. It's me. It's my most recent video at Tom Woods TV. But I just pointed out, I said that half the libertarian world acts like the only libertarians are Hayek, Friedman, and John Stossel. Like, that's just not right. Like, this is just stupid. But also, I would say maybe Gustav de Molinari, because he was the one who wrote the essay about private security.
All right, let's put this up here.
Oh, are you putting this up here?
Thank you, everybody.
All right, now hold on. Wait. Can I actually move this? Can I move the ticker on the video to get to the
can I
part
stand
that
on this?
people to see?
Okay. I don't know if that's some kind of insult, like they don't want shorts. Actually, rather wicked.
I want to get it to minute 30. I would love to see that. Yeah, 2 Tom Woodses. That's right. So you knew it was some kind of a lizard man scam going on here. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Somebody was asking me a good question here. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, I would hang. In the short run, it might not be a bad idea to hang on to cash. What are my thoughts on William Appleman Williams' theories on American empire? I think he's pretty good, but his constant emphasis on the open door, that the U.S. government is pushing its policy because it believes in free trade, I don't think it's really plausible, particularly because a lot of the documents are now available to historians, the documents whereby foreign policy was formulated, and these concerns don't seem to come up. So I think a lot of his theory hasn't quite panned out, but I think he's basically a pretty good historian. Anyway, will Ron Paul speak publicly soon? He'll speak on his own time. I don't know anything other than that. Am I a Freemason? Oh my gosh, no! Are you kidding me? What possible reason would I want to be a Freemason? Oh my heavens! All right, let's see. How did Peter Schiff do testifying before Congress recently? I posted it at tomwoods.com. I thought he was great. I don't know about Ireland, I'm sorry to say. Do I read other new authors' books? Sure, particularly if I'm going to interview them for the Peter Schiff show, I will read those, but usually I'm reading old books. Because sometimes it seems to be the case the only good author is a dead author. Hey, by the way, you guys, you're on the air here. Hi. Let's see. I've never heard of geo-libertarianism. Is that Fred Fulbury? I don't know enough about it, but he did call the the real estate thing, so you got to hand that to him. John Stuart Mill, you should read the bibliographical essay in Rothbard's book Classical Economics. He says there is no more systematically overrated person in the history of thought than John Stuart Mill. So I don't know. I think Mill goes totally off the rails later in his life economically. James Mill is much better. James Mill is much better in terms of the economy. But also, Mill is not good, I think, on libertarianism. He confuses society and state. There's nothing wrong with people expressing moral disapproval of other things other people do. Like, some people think that libertarianism means anything goes, man, and what you're doing is just as good as what I'm doing. And you know, of course it doesn't. Libertarianism just means don't use violence against people. That's all it means. Whereas Mill thinks it's just as dangerous that your neighbors, you know, don't like what color you painted your house as the government is. And I don't think that is as dangerous. What news sources do I frequent? Well, I read a lot of blogs. I've kind of time I post on my site, on my blog, I'll say, here are the things I try to look at. But it's probably a lot of things that you guys look at. I mean, I look at Drudge, even though I don't happen to like Drudge. I get a lot, get that. I go to Politico sometimes because at least I just want to know what people are talking about. But mainly I look at sort of libertarian news sources. I like libertypulse.com. Kurt Wallace does a really good job aggregating a lot of interesting news for us there. Yeah, of course, free advice is good. Bob gets into some technical economics there from time to time. I don't often look at Zero Hedge. And I don't really know why, to be honest with you. It's just not part of my routine. But I do try and glance at the Daily Poll because I know that the readers there pick out really good things. Do I think world government is inevitable in the long run? No, I don't think anything like that is inevitable. And I don't think it could work either, even if it were desirable. Has Asia contributed anything to libertarian theory? Yeah, sure. I mean, I suppose. I mean, I know that there has been. I've read a couple of papers pertaining to Confucius and libertarianism, things like that. But you know, on the other hand, just as with you, that is a real problem for Asian civilizations. In fact, one major question that has occupied historians is why is it that only Western Europe? Why was Western Europe first in achieving sustained long-run economic growth? Not just a sort of growth here and there, but sustained long-run economic growth and sustained scientific endeavor. Like you see science pop up in a civilization, then it dies. Then it pops up somewhere else, and then it dies. Why is that? And in the West, we've got the commitment to reason. We've got political decentralization that was just a brute fact of life in the Middle Ages, and that helped to lead to liberty. And we didn't have these same sorts of things. You had, like in China, you had an elite that viewed capitalism as a threat because it made the lower classes uppity, and they wouldn't know their place, so they had to be squashed. So all these things are problems, but you know, I suppose you can find some stuff here and there. Okay, what do I think of the Tarpley interview with Alex Jones? I didn't listen to it because I think Tarpley is totally overrated, and I just don't want to deal with this. And I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't. I should be more respectful because supposedly he is good on some things. But unfortunately, the things he focuses on are the things he's terrible at. He is not good on economics. He is not knowledgeable about the Austrian school. He is not knowledgeable about the Constitution. I mean, I'll never forget reading him saying that we do need national health care, and it is constitutional because the General Welfare Clause allows it. Well, how about no and no to that? So I feel like he is just disproportionately respected, I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe I should address it. Maybe I should at some point get to it. I don't want to come off like some arrogant jerk or any type of jerk, but I'm really annoyed by somebody who constantly attacks things he has never read. There is just no way this guy has cracked a book by the Austrians. I just do not believe that. And then to keep on saying these things and attack good people. I mean, that just annoys me. It annoys me that, and then also to pretend that the real problem in the world is capitalism, is laissez-faire. That George W. Bush he believed in laissez-faire, and that's why the big business interests support him. Number one, no, he didn't. The big business interests support him because of the bailouts, not capitalism. And number two, most of these big business interests don't want a free market. If the big business interests wanted a free market, they would have all donated to Ron Paul. All right, that's that. Do I want to run for political office? No, I answered that earlier. I'd be savaged and smeared, and it would be counterproductive. Okay. Hold on, something about Charles Beard. That interests me. Hold on. Wait. No, I'll never get it back. All right, yeah. Ask me again about, yeah, my wife just says, tell him to ask it again. Okay, let's see. Do I know anything about tungsten? No, other than the modern name is Wolfram, but no. Good history book on Civil War. Good question. I mean, you might start with, if you want something to start with The Politically Incorrect Guide to the Civil War by Harry Crocker. That's actually a decent book. Do I know any ethnic studies scholarship that's actually good? Sure, the book written by Thomas Sowell on that subject. He's written a whole bunch on that. And then the Harvard Encyclopedia of American Ethnic Groups was edited by Stefan Thernstrom. And Thernstrom's a very reliable guy, so that resource in the library might be helpful. Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's see. Will Ron Paul really show up at the convention? I don't see why not. I don't know for sure, I guess. What's my philosophy toward history? More Butterfield or more Charles Beard? I've read Butterfield on the history of science, but I don't know really what his philosophy of history is. I'm sorry to confess my ignorance on that. Charles Beard is more of, I guess, an economic determinist. I think there's something to be said for the Beard view that you should look for what are the interests that are served by various policies. I think that's certainly good. I mean, Rothbard always wanted to look at who benefits. Always ask that question, who benefits? I don't think Beard was entirely correct. I think Forrest McDonald corrected, to some degree, his book, An Economic Interpretation of the Constitution. Charles Beard's book was sort of corrected by Forrest McDonald, who had access to other documents. But I think his basic instinct is pretty good. Okay, Butterfield is a Whig historian, so who just views history as just the story of progress. I think that's a temptation in Western liberalism, is to think of the world, think of things constantly progressing. But it's not necessarily the case. There could be retrogression. And certainly in the history of thought, there's retrogression. Like the history of economic thought was not, we kept getting smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter. I think it's been we got smarter and then sort of stupider, and then a little bit smarter and then really stupid. And now we're getting a little bit smarter. So not everything works that way. How did the church receive my book, The Church and the Market? This was a Rothbardian overview of Catholic social teaching. But really, if you're interested in Austrian economics, and look, I don't make that much money from the Church and the Market. It's published by an academic press. So those of you who've been in publishing, if you hear academic press, you know what that means. It's like a little piggy bank. You can hear the coins rattling. That's how much money you make. But The Church and the Market is like an introduction. Well, are you taking my picture over there? All right, and of course it's a reverse, so I don't know where this is coming from. Anyway, The Church and the Market is like an introduction to Austrian economics. And I'm really happy with it. I think it's one of the best things I've done. It is an introduction to Austrian economics. It's aimed at Catholics. We don't have to be Catholic to read it. And I would say that no one has condemned me for it. I've gotten some nice notes from clergymen. But when I was in Spain last week, that book is hugely popular in Spain. It turns out it's much more widely read in the Spanish translation than it is here. And I had huge support for that. I had people asking me to sign their copies. But one thing I'm going to take credit for, this was a sort of topic that there was no debate on before Church and the Market came out. It was that if you're a Catholic, you've got to be a social democrat, Walter Mondale supporter. Then I wrote this book, and suddenly now this point of view is being acknowledged. So a couple years ago, I'll just make this fast, there was an article written in the Catholic Social Science Review bashing the market. And normally that would have just stood. But the editor of that journal, it's a peer-reviewed journal, the editor of that journal wrote to me and said, we'd like you to rebut this article, and then we're going to take the two articles and have a roundtable discussion about them in the journal. Now, this did not happen before 2005. There was just nothing like this. And it's partly because I've been attacked so much for my book that it has forced this perspective into the conversation. So sometimes it's good to be attacked. Like, I'm having a great old time. I'm forcing conversations that would not have occurred otherwise, and it makes me really happy. It's like a mini Ron Paul. Like, he has made non-intervention into a real subject. You know, well, so I kind of did it with this, and it's really exciting. Okay, what's the name of the book on distributed? Okay, hold on. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Well, first of all, here's what you should do. You could go here. This is where you can also get signed copies. Ooh, impress your friends. Okay, and somebody linked to, I wrote a little monograph called Beyond Distributism. That's another relevant thing. Okay, Ian, am I still going?
Sure.
Okay, is she coming here?
I don't know.
All right, well, I should probably, I don't want to cause problems. Okay, so I have 15 more minutes, says the head of the household here. Okay, hold on, back up. Somebody was asking me about, there's just some interesting something having to do with distributism or some kind of thing, or am I taking PhD students? Well, unfortunately, I can't advise dissertation. Oh, what do I think of C4SS? That's what I wanted. Yeah, Center for Stateless Society. Well, I like those people. I'm not sure they like me, but well, I don't care. I like them. You know, and they can just stick it. Look, I'm going to like you and forget it. But I like Roderick Long. I mean, we're friends at least. You know, I think they do good stuff. They're sweet people. Am I going to the convention? No. No, definitely not. Not going to the Republican convention. Okay. Do I know anything about Edward Bernays? Well, just what anybody knows about him. That he's basically the godfather of modern advertising and stuff, but I don't know a whole lot about him. Let's see. Okay, I already answered the ANCAP thing. I don't think Ron Paul is an ANCAP. What do I think of prepping? I don't even know what that means. Rothbard, Friedman, Sol, Bastiat, Ron Paul, who do you like the most and why? Well, Ron Paul's a little bit different because he's more, I mean, he is an intellectual, but he's more of a politician. So I guess it's a tie between Rothbard and Ron Paul, but I would give the edge to Rothbard just because that's what I do, is I read dorky books. Have I read Britton Folsom's works on FDR? Yes, I made reference to them in my talks on that for libertyclassroom.com. I think Folsom's book is the best non-Austrian book on the Great Depression. It's called A New Deal or Raw Deal, and I recommend it. It's not very good on the Fed, but if you want to get the story of the Fed in the Depression, then for that you go to Bob Murphy's book, The Politically Incorrect Guide to the Great Depression, A New Deal. Okay, let's see. Have I read Gary's book, Markets Not Capitalism? I haven't, but I have read his book, The Conscience of an Anarchist, and I wrote a nice little blurb about that on my blog at the end of 2011, because I promised him that by the end of the year I would review his book, and I think I did it on December 31st. Like, I've really had a busy year, but I keep my promises. Paul Fest. As of now, I am slated to be at Paul Festival. Okay, Ron Paul's VP, yeah. Okay, let's see. Would return to a gold standard result in deflation as gold prices demand increase? I don't know how that would, well, I mean, I guess it depends on the way you return to it, doesn't it? Depends on the method that's used. And let me just refer to a blog post of mine that might give some help. I don't think it, I don't know, I have to think about this, as I say, but I'm going to give this, because this is a useful little one-stop shop on this subject. This is a blog post of mine. And here we go. And somebody's asking what I'm reading right now. Remind me to answer that question if I don't remember. All right, now I'm frozen here. Hold on, everybody. Super duper powerful computer, and I am frozen. All right, hold on. Oh, no, I accidentally hit private conversations. How do I get back to the chat window? Public chat, there we go. Okay. And there's how to return to gold. Okay. What am I reading right now? Who am I reading right now? What book am I reading? I am reading, I think the guy's name is Detlev Schechter, something like that. It's called Paper Money Collapse. I'm reading that. What else am I reading? I'm reading, finally getting around to reading The Tragedy of the Euro by Philip Bogus. And I'm about to read a book on Marxism written by Mises. It's actually just transcribed lectures that he gave. And I just read a novel. I never read novels, but on international travel, I can only read nonfiction for so long, and I lose my mind. So my wife just got me a novel, Karen Slaughter, Undone, and that was good. I was like, I didn't quite know what was going on, or who's the killer and all that. So I like stuff like that once in a while. Okay, where will the market be in 6 months? I don't know. Probably about the same, but heading downward. I mean, I just don't see how. Like, nothing fundamental has changed. So how could things get better? Like, I don't see that. Okay, yeah, I know. I'd love to force group into debate, Bob. You're right. And then we'll go right back to the non-aggression principle. Okay. Well, okay, yeah. This whole two festival thing, I think, is a really, really big mistake. And I have friends involved in both of these. That is just really dumb. You've got less than 3 months, 2.5 months to plan this thing, and you're going to have competing, warring festivals. That is just really, really bad. Really, really bad. Why isn't Ron Paul? Well, you'd have to ask him that. I've never asked him that. I don't ask him I don't ask him presumptuous questions like that. Hey, how come you're not more consistent than you are? I'm not going to do that. Would the country be easier to manage under regional governments, as Jefferson wrote of? Well, sure, of course, because I think maybe the different regions would be more homogeneous, and so there wouldn't be this. It wouldn't be so difficult for the governing authorities to force everybody into a particular mold. But because the more diverse the population is, the harder it is to do that. Okay, let's see. Is the current GOP's platform a species of feudalism? I don't know. That seems pretty philosophical to me. I would just say it's just corporatism masquerading as the free market. I get way behind on the questions. I like 5 minutes behind. Edward Bernays is the father of propaganda. Yeah, okay. Well, that's advertising. Same thing. Okay, let's see. And yes, I've seen the video where Ron Paul seems to suggest that he's a voluntarist, so I don't rule out that possibility. Okay, the Bitcoin question. I guess at some point I'm just going to have to sit down and try and figure this thing out. I don't understand it. I don't know what it is. I haven't learned about it yet. But it's not just because I'm a lazy bum. I assure you, my days are spent not just goofing off. I just haven't. What I need, here's what I'll do. All you Bitcoin people, I need you to make me a 10-minute YouTube explaining to me simply what the thing is and how it works. If there is such a video already, then please just post it on my Facebook page. I'm gonna give that to you right now, which is not the Tom Woods page, which I don't use very much. It's the Thomas E. Woods Jr., one of my fan people started it, so it's unfortunately Thomas E. Woods Jr., but post it there, and I will look at it. Okay. Let's see. People that prepare for disaster. Oh, okay, preppers. Okay, now I get it. I'd never heard that term before. Well, I don't see that. Well, like, what would be the problem? Like, what would be the worst thing you could say about somebody who's prepared for disaster? Oh, you're too prepared. Like, think of all things you could be called, or think of all the things that people could be accused of they've done wrong in this world. Wouldn't that be, like, way down at, like, number 100,000? So, good for them. I mean, I should be more prepared than I am, I guess. But on the other hand, look, I'm in the middle of nowhere, so already I've got half the battle waged. Okay, yeah, I don't know enough about the silver market to comment. I mean, that you really have to be somebody who follows the commodity markets really closely to really know what's going on, and I don't. Okay, what should I do as a newly elected GOP committee person to reform the GOP? That's a great question, but it's another case where you need to talk to a specialist, a political, somebody who's been around a long time. You know what I would do is I would go to the Lou Rockwell blog, and I would find the most recent blog post by Clarence Mannion. Because his father, Dean Mannion, what was his father's name? I can't remember his father's name, but he was a if not a super well-known figure in the conservative movement, nevertheless pretty well-known guy in the conservative movement, and he was an old right anti-interventionist, even when it was very unfashionable to be one. So So Christopher Mannion, sorry. It's Christopher Mannion. His father's name was Clarence Mannion, sorry. So look for Christopher Mannion. That's why I couldn't think of his father's name. Look for him and write to him. Just pass your cursor over his name and there'll be a hyperlink to him. And see what he says, because he kind of knows the ins and outs of that stuff. All right. Yeah, I always misuse dorky and geeky and nerd. I hate them to be synonyms, and people keep telling me that they're not, and then I just keep on doing it. Okay. Okay. What hath God wrought? I don't know. I haven't read that. Did I hear you're writing a novel? Oh, no. I wouldn't. I would be terrible. I don't even know where to begin in writing a novel. No, I read a novel recently. I hardly ever read novels. Just almost the only time I ever read a novel is when I'm flying overseas. Have I read Lysander Spooner's No Treason, the Constitution of No Authority? Yes, sure, of course. Yeah, years ago. Yes, in fact, I think I might even quote from it in one of my books. Okay. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I already commented that I don't really know enough about the legal status of the delegates. Okay, Ian, what's going on? Are we?
We are good to go. Libertarian Ann will be up in about 4 minutes.
Okay. Do you? I mean, I have 4 minutes left. Do you want me to use them?
Sure.
Okay.
I think if I said no, there would be a riot.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Do I think Hoppe's argumentation ethics is compatible with Christianity? I do. I do think it is, because I mean, I don't see any flaw in the logic. So I don't see what the problem would be. But I don't know. Probably got to think more about that. But I like his argumentation ethics. Oh, I accidentally scrolled back to like 10 minutes ago. All right. Let's see. Hold on. Do I feel that John Tyler's joint resolution taking of Texas was constitutional or not? It's my view. I mean, I would think that would have had to be done by treaty. So I think it's at least dubious. Will I be at Freedom Fest? Yes, that's on my website. You should go to. I have all my events there on the events page at tomwoods.com. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a few things. I'm going to be commenting Thursday morning. So I'm going to get there Wednesday night. I'm there really early. And Thursday morning, I'm going to be on the panel where they're going to be showing the nullification documentary. So I'll be on the panel commenting on that. I have a luncheon. There's a Tom Woods luncheon at Freedom Fest. But unfortunately, of these luncheons, you have to pay extra to go to it. And my demographic tends to be young college kids without that much money. So I'm afraid that nobody's going to come to the Tom Woods luncheon. You guys got to help me out here. I don't want to be all alone at the luncheon. It's going to be awful. And then I'm also talking on a panel on Friday. We're going to be screening, I think, just a trailer for the upcoming documentary based on my book Meltdown. So I'll be on that. We'll have a lot of, I think the plan is to have some real heavy hitters on that panel with us. So that should be a lot of fun. Okay. Let's see. An idea for prospective hiring syndicate for employers. Peter Schiff and I talked about it. Yeah. And then I was contacted through email by somebody who actually plans to do that sort of thing. For people who don't listen to every single audio thing I put out, one of the times I guest hosted for Peter Schiff, I had Peter on because he was out of town for 2 weeks and wanted to hear from him. So we had him on. We were talking about, wouldn't it be interesting to have a certification organization that would, instead of having to put everybody through the ringer of 4 years of college and it's $200,000 and all that, there are a lot of really bright people out there who are bright without a college education and who have got a lot of on-the-job training, whatever. And maybe we could just certify them through this institution and just say to employees, look, we give this person the seal of approval. We say that this person is super duper qualified, is knowledgeable in all these fields, whatever. And that would maybe be the equivalent of a diploma, and it would save you $199,000. So yeah, sure, I love that idea. What do I think about states making gold and silver legal tender? I see nothing wrong with that. I'm all in favor of that. Are you working on more funny informational videos like Interview with a Zombie? There's still people who have never seen Interview with a Zombie, to my horror. So I'm going to put this in here. And if you have seen it, but you haven't seen the blooper tape, make sure and do that. So follow that link that I just put in there, interviewwithazombie.com. But I probably shouldn't reveal this, but I'll just say this. There might be a part 2 coming. There might be a part 2 coming. I might be playing the zombie in the part 2. Might, I say. All right, I think that is it, though, because it is now... does my wife support me in all this? Well, absolutely. She's great. She is interested in all this. We have... so we talk about this stuff constantly, and I don't even have to feel guilty doing it. So it's great. Okay. Well, but that is... Oh, in basketball, I don't follow basketball. I don't have the time. Okay, responsible. Yeah, I'll have to take all these. Save your questions for next time. And it's been great. I can see one of my kids is behind me. All right, everybody. TomWoods.com. I blog there. LibertyClassroom.com. Slay zombies there. And thanks, everybody, and enjoy the rest of the chat. Don't everybody leave. There's more great chat to come. All right. Let's see. How do I stop broadcasting? I think I click stop broadcasting. See you all later.